Sometimes a piece of news today just throws you back in time, right? Well, a recent injury to a NASCAR legend has everyone talking about one of the most wild, most controversial techniques in racing history. So today, let's dive into the story of a lost art, tandem drafting. Seriously, just think about this for a second. What kind of racing move could possibly be so insane, so fast, that NASCAR itself, the organization that loves speed, had to step in and say, nope, that's just too exciting. That's the mystery we're unpacking today. And hey, don't just take my word for it. That's a direct quote from a true legend, NASCAR Hall of Famer Mark Martin. When a guy like that calls a technique too exciting, you know we're talking about something absolutely off the charts. So let's get into what it actually was. All right, first things first. What was tandem drafting? We're going to look at the science that made it so fast and, well, the controversy that ultimately killed it. Okay, so the concept itself is actually pretty simple, almost elegant in a way. You'd get two cars and they'd line up perfectly. I mean, perfectly, nose to tail. And when they did that, they weren't really two separate cars anymore. They basically fused into this one long, super aerodynamic unit that could hit just mind-boggling speeds. So here's the science behind the magic. A single car, right? It's constantly fighting the air, pushing it out of the way. But with a tandem pair, the front car does all the heavy lifting, punching a giant hole in the air. The car behind it then gets to tuck right in, and it actually pushes the front car, killing all that messy air, that drag between them. It was like they created a two-car bullet, a supercar that was just way, way faster than either car could ever be on its own. But this wasn't just some science project on wheels. This was an incredible, high-wire act of human skill. Just listen to driver Brad Keselowski. He said it was the hardest he ever drove on a superspeedway. You had to have total 100% trust in the guy behind you. They were in constant communication, with the driver in the back basically steering for both of them, telling the front car where to go, all while being inches apart at over 200 miles an hour. Just insane. And look, if tandem drafting was this dangerous, beautiful art form, then there was one guy who was its undisputed king. And here's Mark Martin again, this time on social media, leaving no doubt. Someone asked who the best was, and he didn't even blink. Brad Keselowski was the king of it. I mean, in racing, getting that kind of props from another legend, that's everything. That settles the debate right there. And yeah, Keselowski's resume absolutely backs that up. We're talking a Cup Series champion, an Xfinity Series champion, 36 career wins. He's conquered some of the biggest races in the sport. He had the skill, the guts, everything that this crazy technique demanded. So you're probably asking, if this was so fast and so effective, where did it go? Well, as drivers like Keselowski got better and better at it, the speeds just kept climbing to these unbelievably dangerous levels. And with that speed, the risk went through the roof. One tiny little mistake, one miscalculation, and you could trigger a massive high-speed wreck involving half the field. Eventually, NASCAR had to make a call. The danger just started to outweigh the thrill. They banned it in the lower series in 2014, and just like that, the era was over. So, that ban really did close a pretty wild chapter in NASCAR history. But now, the king of that era, Brad Keselowski, is facing a brand new, very personal challenge on his own road back to Daytona. So what's been going on? This past offseason, Keselowski had a major setback, a fractured femur from a skiing accident. Not a small injury. It's already forcing him to miss the season opener, the Clash. But he's already announced his real focus, his big comeback target. And you can hear the determination in his own words. He said his focuses are entirely on recovery. He's motivated, and he's going to work tirelessly for one specific goal, being back in that car, ready to go for the Daytona 500. And trust me, there's a huge reason why that race is the one that matters so much to him. Just one. For a driver who has won so much, has achieved so much, what could this single number possibly mean? It's the one big one he's missing. For all of his championships, for all his wins in those crown jewel races, the biggest events on the calendar like the Southern 500, the Brickyard 400, there is one massive, glaring hole on his resume. He has never won the Daytona 500. So that leaves us with this incredible story, right? You have the driver who mastered what might be the single most dangerous, most difficult skill the sport has ever seen. And now he's battling back from a serious injury to chase the one great prize that has always slipped through his fingers.
So the question is, can the king of a lost art conquer his final greatest challenge?